Well, hello there, and you join us here today to list not one, not two, but 20 bargain Seiko watches you can get right now. If you're looking for a watch, bargain or otherwise, you can buy, sell and trade to your heart's content at watchfinder.com. Tom, we're doing the people's work here today. The catalogue of Seiko watches is vast and immeasurable. And so you and I have been through it to pick out what we think are the 20 best bargain Seiko watches you can get right now. Would you care to start?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the cheapest Seiko watch on offer. This is a Seiko 5 Green Zone Midfield Sports Style. And it's £260. So it's a 36mm. Actually, to be precise, it's a 36.37mm case. That's just an example of Seiko's fastidious approach, because make note of their weird watch diameters. So 36.37mm case field watch in stainless steel with a green zone khaki coloured nylon bracelet. I don't know what green zone is, just sounds cool. It's an automatic movement with 41 hours of power reserve. There's Arabic numbers and spot and baton markers around the outside there. A lovely black textured dial and a red second-hand tip. So lots of nice, lovely details there for just £260.
I appreciate that very fastidious attention to detail. It's like a maths question, isn't it? Work out the case size to the nearest 2 decimal places.
Yeah.
It's not the cheapest watch Seiko have ever made, but considering how inflation has just gone absolutely bananas, it's impressive they can still spit them out for this price.
Yes.
To up that budget slightly, by £30. This is the Seiko 5 Sports SKX, but not the one we all know and love. This one gets some added juice because it's the skeleton style. And I don't mean it's been left in a closet for a long time to wither and waste away. It has a see-through dial through which you can see the day and date mechanism. So you know what's coming up next. You'll also spot that the day and date are there in both English and French, the two most commonly used languages in the world, except one of them. For your £290, you get a 42.5mm stainless steel case, and it is inspired by the Seiko archives, which I can imagine are enormous, similar to the Indiana Jones warehouse of stuff he's stolen from other countries. You also get a nice little pop of red on the second hand there, just to contrast against the blue translucent dial.
Speaking of Indiana Jones, I actually thought the dial from a distance looked a bit like some sort of Aztec sunstone or something. I didn't realise it was actually the date windows spinning around there. Very nice. Okay, next we're sticking with Seiko 5 Sports. For £300, this is the SKX Midi Teal. Now, we've spoken about this before. It's a Seiko 5 Sports, but not as we know it, Jim. It's 38mm, so scaled down into a mid-size, which was due to popular demand by the Seiko fans. They like the Seiko 5, but it is quite chunky, and I concur. So this mid-size is exquisite, perfect. In stainless steel, see-through caseback with the 4R36 automatic movement, and in the hottest colour right now, Tiffany Teal. It says the colour scheme for this latest series of watches has been inspired by the mid-size Seiko 5 Sports quartz divers watches originally released in the 1980s, but we all know that it is in fact due to peer pressure from other watch brands to make a watch in this type of green. So there you go.
At £300 in this colour, Tom, it is a teal.
Yes.
Hold for applause.
Or a bargain aquamarine.
From field to sea to the air, this is the Seiko 5 Sports Fleeger at £300. It's stainless steel, 39.38mm, so we've gone up ever so slightly there. But there is also a hard coating in black on this watch, which makes it feel incredibly stealthy. But if you want the stealthy look but still want to be able to be seen from a great distance, it contrasts that black with bright orange both on the dial for the hands and markers, but also on the inside of the strap. You get the day and date as expected. There is also a hacking hands function when you pull the crown, which is how the military would set their watches together. They would hack them, so you wouldn't have one turning up 3 seconds earlier than the others and spoiling the surprise. Together it creates a very modern version of the Flieger, and it also gets a strap in a bomber jacket style.
Just like the one I had at school when it was all the rage in the early 90s.
Oh, is that what it is? So the bomber jacket style, because it's got the black on the outside and the orange on the inside. I had forgotten about those. I'm getting some raging flashbacks right now. What were they called, those jackets?
They were just called bomber jackets, weren't they?
No, there was a specific jacket that was black on the outside and orange on the inside, and it had a name. And it was like a name that was a bit like...
Was it like Naf Naf?
Naf Naf! Oh my God, it's a Naf Naf jacket in a watch.
I'm Googling that.
Wow, Tom, I don't think you're going to top such childhood flashbacks as that, but go on.
Sure. So, another Seiko 5 Sports, this time the Blueberry GMT SKX reinterpretation. Now, this is a hot commodity when Seiko stormed the watch industry by surprise from behind with a affordable GMT movement for £420, 42.5mm. That's going to wear very much like a 42mm watch in stainless steel with a GMT hand. So very cool. It's got high visibility hour markers, a bi-color 24-hour bezel in coated hardlex, and the hands and indices are coated in Lumibrite. So there's your proprietary buzzwords all covered off there. You can see the lovely 4R, 3R caliber in the see-through case back, and it's got a nice beads of rice bracelet and 100 meters of water resistance. So a really cool little package there that offers quite a lot for just over £400.
Just under £42 per millimetre there, Tom. That is the bargain GMT of all the bargain GMTs, and in a very fetching colour too.
Absolutely.
Tom, but for all your midnight blue moon escapades, having a fling with your lover in the field, under the blue light of a full moon, you might want to go for the £380 Presage Cocktail Time Midnight Blue Moon. Okay, there we go. That comes together very nicely in a beautiful narrative, which is very much an apt description for this watch, because you look at it and it's just absolutely sumptuous. Not only is it a 40.5mm stainless steel case, you also get a deep blue dial, which looks a bit like, you know, those little fans you'd make in school when you open them up and connect them round in full circle.
Yes.
That is accentuated with a gold second hand, and you get a dark brown leather strap with it too. Now, as the name suggests, these watches are inspired by various different cocktails, and of course, the Midnight Blue Moon is one of those cocktails, probably, and I don't know which one it is. You also get 5 bar of water resistance, so if that moonlit romance gets a little splashy, you'll be okay.
Yeah, or if your watch falls off into your drink, it should be all right.
Yeah, that too.
So sticking with the Presage Cocktail Time series, this time the Old Clock Cocktail. £400, so a little bit dearer. I think there's more booze in this cocktail. 38.5mm diameter with a date display, automatic movement, 41 hours of power reserve, box-shaped crystal this time in Seiko's Hardlex, because this watch has a vintage look inspired by a bar. Specifically, a bar came across on a journey to get away from everyday life.
Oh, we've all been there.
So says Seiko. But yeah, there are some lovely vintage details on this watch. So the Arabic numerals are inspired by vintage bottle labels that were probably on shelves in this bar. And the dial pattern is beautifully embossed and perfectly harmonises with the gradation, evoking a beautiful cocktail type aspect that you might see while peering down into your cocktail gimlet. But actually, overall, it's a really beautiful watch and very striking dial. And those numerals are very, very classical looking. It's an amazing watch and a hell of a bargain for £400. You get a lot of lovely details there. So yeah, I like this one a lot.
I love the cut crystal dial. Looks very much like a whiskey tumbler, doesn't it? And I imagine as well that this is the perfect accompaniment to a cocktail and will remind you when you've been singing too much karaoke and it's time to go home now. Next up, This is a particularly special £450 Seiko 5 Sports Edition. This is the Bruce Lee limited edition. Yes, the very same. The man with the hands of steel is what I'm calling him now because I've never seen any of his films. This is a limited edition of 15,000 pieces, and you might be wondering why Bruce Lee. The connection seems tenuous at best, but no, he wore a Seiko 5 Sports in the 1970s, so a very fitting tribute to him. Gets lots of lovely features to recognise his work and his legacy. His dragon motif appears on the dial and on the back of the leather strap, and it's generally been assembled to resemble his kung fu outfits. The yellow nylon strap also represents his tracksuit style, which was also aped in Kill Bill. Fun little aside for you there. There's a see-through case back as well, which showcases the Jeet Kune Do logo, which I have definitely butchered, much like Bruce Lee would butcher his enemies. Superlative shock resistance.
Yeah, for when you're punching through 2x4s. So next we have another cocktail time. This time, the Skydiving Diamond Twist. Now, this is a lady's watch, but I thought it was worth highlighting because there's some very interesting details here. So it's £460, and it is quite a petite, compact design. It's very slim watch in 30.3 millimeters, so it's going to wear very much like a 30 millimeter diameter watch. It includes the new in-house 2R05 caliber. But it's very elegant, very beautiful. It has a lovely textured dial here, inspired by, you guessed it, the skydiving cocktail, which everybody drinks at the Star Bar. And it features 8 diamonds on the batten. Very, very beautiful. For £460, I think this could maybe beat up a Cartier in a fight. I don't know how you would do that. Maybe like conkers, put them on a bit of string. But yeah, very elegant, very beautiful, and I think Seiko's ladies' watches are a little bit under the radar and not much talked about, so I thought I'd highlight this one.
I'm glad you explained the skydiving part. I did wonder if this was an appropriate choice for such an extreme activity, but there you go, that's what Seiko's all about. And also, diamond watch for £460? Bargain.
Yeah, maybe they're Seiko's own grown diamonds.
Probably.
Lab grown.
They're in-house diamonds. I mean, very, very likely. Tom, we're going to step it up a little bit in professionality and specification because this is the professional specification Prospex Great Blue Samurai Scuba Paddy Special Edition, Tom.
Whoa.
At £550. This is a new edition in collaboration with Paddy. No, not the Irish guy, but the underwater scuba diving outfit crew gang. They have worked with Seiko to create a special watch for the Association of Diving Instructors. It is 43.8mm in stainless steel. It gets a ceramic unidirectional rotating bezel. It gets 200 meters of water resistance and an in-house mechanical 4R35 caliber with a 40-hour power reserve. But what we're all here for is a dial that looks like being under the sea. Now, it doesn't look like being under the sea. It looks like being under the sea. At first, I thought it was a porthole for a submarine.
Yeah, really cool watch. So it's nicknamed the Samurai because of the angular case, which people say the lugs look like they've been sliced with a samurai sword. But it's kind of confusing because that makes it really resemble a turtle, which is another nickname for a popular Seiko case. So yeah, can't keep track of it. Back to the Presage line of Seiko watches. This is the Petrol Blue Style 60s Road Trip GMT. It's £580 in 40.75 millimeters. Okay, it's stainless steel with a lovely petrol blue dial and a box-shaped hardlex crystal for those 60s vibes. And again, we're seeing the return of that Seiko GMT movement inside. So the 60s style is inspired by a road trip theme relating to iconic 60s cars and their wheels and levers and other instruments. It has a hairline finishing which gives it a machine-like feel. Very nice. And the GMT dial layout incorporates the details of the original Seiko 1964 Crown Chronograph.
It really does take me back, Tom, to when I'd take the kids out in the caddy, we'd go have a picnic and leave all our rubbish behind. Good times. Tom, if you like your affordable watches to be more themed by the night, this is the £640 Prospex Speedtimer, but in the Black Series Night Speedtimer. This is a solar-powered chronograph, which doesn't work so well at night, but leave it out during the day and it'll be ready to go come nightfall. It is 39mm in stainless steel with a chronograph up to 60 minutes with fifth of a second increments as well. You get a date display, you get a small second hand, you get a power reserve indicator, and of course you get a black theme. It feels incredibly, and I say this with all seriousness, tactical.
Yeah, cool. Part of the Black Series design inspired by night missions and the intrepid view through a night scope. And it really does. Being a midnight peeper myself, I can definitely see the resemblance. Next, we've got another Prospex. This is the Solar Commando Arnie Hybrid Divers 40th anniversary. So it's £650 and it's limited edition of 4,000 pieces, 46.42mm diameter, so that's probably going to wear like 46.4mm, stainless steel with a hard coating in black. This is the Commando style diver's watch, also known as the Arnie, after Schwarzenegger, who wore it in the film Commando, which is a really fun film. I like the bit where he gets ready and he's loading all his guns and doing up all his zips. That's brilliant. So yeah, it's a hybrid diver's watch, proven for its reliability in extreme environments. Previously, the original model, I think, went on expeditions to the Antarctic and up Everest. So very cool. It's got alarm functions and a full auto calendar, correct to December 31st, 2100. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, cool. Get your Arnie anniversary. It's nice to see Seiko leaning into their nicknames that they've been given. So yeah, so this is a cool watch for action aficionados.
I very much pack my lunchbox in the vein of the Commando preparation scene. This watch, though, with its shroud, tuna can shroud, also gives it really rugged vibes. You know this thing is going to take a nuclear blast and will probably survive something you can't. What does give me anxiety, though, and reminds me of the time I locked myself out of my microwave, is the small key-like symbol above the alarm icon, which it makes me concerned. It makes me think you can lock yourself out of the watch and can't unlock it again. Probably not the case, but I do get a little bit of anxiety from that. Tom, we're going to start to blend in some of the higher-end Seiko fit and finish into this Prospex Deep Lake Alpinist. It is a £690, and whilst we've lost some of the functionality we've seen in previous watches, we are upping the game when it comes to quality. This is 38mm in stainless steel with the automatic 6R movement, 200 meters of water resistance, and inspired by the original Alpinist, first launched in 1959, which is why you get those beautiful vintage looks. The colour is inspired by peaceful Alpine lakes found deep in the mountains, soon rendered very unpeaceful when you slip from the mountain and plunge into them. But the watch will be fine up to 200 meters.
Lovely watch. Does it have that new car scent?
Hang it from your rearview mirror and find out.
So next we've got another Alpinist, this time the Rock Face European Limited Edition. So the previous Alpinist was based on the original 1959 version. This one is the modern version with the cathedral hands. So it's £800 and a limited edition of 3,000 pieces. This has been out a little while, so that might have depleted by now, but still available on their website. 39.5mm stainless steel, the 6R35 automatic inside, 200 meters of water resistance, and a power reserve of 70 hours. That's a little bit shy of 3 days, so that'll be good if you're actually clinging to a rock face. Any longer than that, you won't be able to tell the time, but you're probably done for anyway. The textured dial design is inspired by said rugged rock face, and there are lovely blue tones on the hands and markers that pop in against the monochromatic grey style of the rest of the watch. Lovely Alpine theme again.
Seiko always nail their natural themes, don't they? Every time I look at this watch, you know how if you put a seashell to your ear and you hear the waves? When I look at this watch, I hear the wind.
Pretty weird.
Tom, do you like watches with red dials that also have the reminiscence of a sharp-edged sword? Of course you do, because this is a Presage Sharp Edge series at £880 with a deep red fume dial that is absolutely popping and has some of that three-dimensionality thanks to the sharp-edged series dial design. This comes in a 39.26mm stainless steel case with a 6R35 movement with those same 70 hours of power reserve, and is inspired, of course, by the ancient and also modern Japanese design. You can get it in various different colour dials, but the red gives you that full-on I'm a submarine captain vibe, and is actually inspired by an angular ancient hemp print, which is a traditional Japanese pattern. Inspires growth and success, apparently, so buy this at £880 and the next day you might have £881 somewhere within your savings. Not a guarantee.
Nice, very nice. Yes, again, another exquisite dial. The Sharp Edge series, a little bit pricier than some of the other Presages, but very, very cool. Moving on then to another Prospex. This is the Marine Green GMT. A little bit pricier now, we're over £1,000, but this is still a bargain when you consider that it has been nominated for a GPHG award in the challenge category. So the GPHG, that's the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Geneva, aka the Watch Oscars. Now I think the Oscars actually have some sort of rules against submitting the same screenplay year on year, but just changing the character to have a new hat. GPHG's not worried about that. That's why the Royal Oak wins the Iconic Watch Award every year. But anyways, £1,400. It's a modern reinterpretation of the 1968 diver's watch in stainless steel. The bezel in steel and ceramic, which is very nice. Powered again by the in-house caliber 6R54, the first Seiko dive watch with a mechanical GMT functionality. So very cool. Yeah, an amazing watch and an amazing achievement for Seiko to be nominated for the GPHG in the challenge category, which I believe is the lower price tier award bracket. So yeah, very nice.
The quality of this watch really starts to borrow from Grand Seiko. It is a very, very high quality watch, and the £1,400 price may seem initially high for a Seiko, but when you handle one, wear it and enjoy it, you realise it is an utter bargain. So Tom, speaking of utter bargains, if you were to say, I want a watch that has the traditional Japanese Takumi enamelling technique hand applied to the dial, you would be imagining that price would be very high, but this is £1,290. This is part of the Presage craftsmanship series, and as you can imagine, the craftsmanship in this one is to do with the enamelling. It is undertaken by the Japanese Takumi craftspeople using those traditional techniques to create a beautifully deep and glossy white dial. Unlike any other, this also has the 6R55 caliber with the 3-day power reserve. It's for pre-order right now, will be available in October.
They're still baking the enamel.
It's out on the windowsill cooling as we speak.
Yeah. So speaking of Grand Seiko, this is King Seiko KSK. Now, King Seiko was, of course, started in what Seiko referred to as the dueling factories period of their watchmaking odyssey. Not true, but should be. So King Seiko was set up alongside Grand Seiko in a quest to encourage innovation. And Grand Seiko did a bit better, and King Seiko was made defunct, but they brought it back, and now you can enjoy one for £1,560, 37mm stainless steel, and this is a reinterpretation of the 1965 King Seiko KSK with a sapphire box glass and stylish angular profile, and some really lovely details, very delicately cut indices on the dial, specifically the 12 o'clock marker, which is beautifully finished and has this pattern on it which requires a technique of making a single cut to the surface, one incision at a time. Very, very nice. You've got this brushed metallic dial as well, and it all comes together in this beautifully boxy watch that is very angular and very fetching indeed.
With the silver dial, it looks like the entire thing's been frozen in carbonite and has been resurfaced after all these years, ready to be enjoyed again. Tom, if you value your watches by the number of things they have in them, or indeed by the number of angles they have upon them, Then the Astron GPS Solar Sapphire Blue Crystal Box at £1,800 will be considered an absolute bargain. This is inspired by the legacy of the original Seiko Astron, the first commercially available quartz watch, which was launched in 1969. It cost as much as a car, but this one doesn't unless you buy a car for £1,800. It is named for its crystal box pressed dial pattern, which you see, given with the integrated case and bracelet, is very reminiscent of watches of the, well, let's say the very late 1969s periods, i.e. the 1970s. It comes in titanium with a super hard coating for extra scratch resistance, and is also solar powered and has GPS functionality, which means when you move between time zones, it will update itself because it's smart like that. If you're looking for the kind of watch that is stylish, well made, and also keeps up with your busy travelling life, £1,800 is yours.
Really cool, yeah. It kind of looks like an AP Royal Oak, doesn't it? But more futuristic and unfussy. It's not concerned with hoity-toity mechanical haute horloger. It's solar powered. Really cool.
Will be no good after the machines scorch the sky. Well, there you have it, dear viewer and listener. Thank you so much for watching. Those are 20 of what we think are the best bargain Seikos out there right now. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments below, and please do like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, you can check out these podcasts Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the review videos Fridays and Sundays. Thank you very much.